Hi everyone, this is Dawn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to paper piece with stamping and patterned papers, and we're going to be using the Gnome Matter stamp set and thin cuts. So let's get started. I've got a selection of papers from the Timber collection, and then I'm going to be using some of the mix-in papers as well. So we're going to start out by stamping the images in black ink on vanilla cardstock. So I'm going to stamp a gnome, and this is going to be the base that I'm going to attach patterned paper pieces to. So I'm going to stamp each of the gnomes. And this one, I wasn't too happy with the way that guy turned out, so I decided to stamp him again. And I'm also going to stamp the background mushroom and flower image, and then some of the butterflies. So that'll get us started. And then I'm going to take some of the pattern papers and I'm going to stamp the gnome image again. And I'm looking through my stamp to see where I want to place this stamp on the pattern paper. And so I want his hat to have some of the lighter plaid. And so I'm placing my stamped image in that area so that that specific spot is going to show for that piece of clothing. So I'm looking around and I'm looking through my stamp, and I'm placing this one so that the pants on the gnome are in the darker blue and the hat is in the lighter green. And then I decided that I wanted the pants to be in the lighter green and the hat to be in the darker blue areas. So look through your clear stamps to your patterns on your pattern paper to figure out where you want to place your stamped image. And then I'm doing the same thing with the other gnome image. Okay, so now I'm going to clean up my stamped images. This is the stamp chamois. If you're not familiar with it, you just wet it with water and then you wipe your stamps down. Okay, so now I have my micro tip scissors, and I'm going to trim down my patterned paper to more manageable sizes so that I can save the rest of it. This other one, just ignore. I wound up not using it on my card. So it was from the older retired Aurora collection. Okay, so now I'm taking my micro tip scissors and I'm trimming out the hat. And it's kind of hard to see on camera here, but I'm trimming out along the edges of that line of just the hat image of the shorter gnome. And once I get it trimmed out, you'll see which part I'm cutting out. And I'm just trimming the hat and the fabric part of the hat, and the little white puffy ball I'm going to leave white on the card. So I'm trimming that, the tip of the cap out, but not the little ball on the image. And then we'll get that completely trimmed out, and you'll see what I mean once I put it down on the image that's on the vanilla cardstock. Okay, so there's my little hat, and see how it fits in like a puzzle piece right over the exact same image on the stamped image on the vanilla cardstock. So I'm going to trim out the hat portion of the other gnome so you can see what I'm doing again. So you just follow the stamped image on your patterned paper and you just trim it out as close as possible to the black line. And then I've got the hat for the other gnome. Okay, so off camera, I'm going to skip ahead. I'm going to color in the other portions of the gnome with the tri-blend markers, and then I'm going to trim out the rest of the outfits for each of the gnomes. Okay, so then your next step is to glue each of these pattern pieces onto your vanilla cardstock. So I'm using a retired, close to my heart, chisel tip glue pen, but you can also use the fine tip of the Aqua Tombow glue, and you just glue down each of these individual pieces. So his jacket, I wanted the belt to show, so I trimmed out the top portion of the jacket and then the bottom portion in two different pieces. And then I colored in his little cuffs with tri-blend markers. And then I decided that his pants, I did cut it out, but it was kind of hard to see the stamped portion of the image, so I decided to color it in with gray. So his cuffs and his pants are colored in with a gray tri-blend marker. So his little outfit is complete, and then he had the belt I colored in as well with the tri-blend. And then the other gnome, that's his hat with the red plaid. And then I used the blue and green plaid for his jacket, and I cut out the portion where his belt is because I colored that in with tri-blends. And then this one I used the lighter green stamped portion for his little pants. And then his jacket. So I'll show you some close-ups of these images at the end of the video, so you'll be able to really see, but that's how it looks once you glue everything down. So now I'm going to get everything out of the way here, and I'm going to bring my big shot in. So now this set comes with thin cuts, and so I'm going to cut out each of these images with the thin cuts. So it helps with the thin cuts if you have either washi tape, or I like purple tape because it's really low tack and it won't tear your image when you tape over your image with the thin cut. So you just place your thin cut, and then I like to tape it down so it doesn't move. And then you run it through your big shot or whatever cutting tool you have. And then you have each of these individual images trimmed out. Okay. I'll run this one through with the other guy. So I'm going to show you a card with this one with the gnome holding the flower, and then I made another card using the other gnome, and I'll show you what that looks like at the end. The pattern, I use the same pattern for both cards. Okay, so let's get the big shot out of the way. Now let's build a card. Okay, so here's my card base, and I'm going to use the wood grain pattern from Timber as the base. So I'm going to trim that at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I'll start building the card. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to use this mix-in paper or if I wanted to use the craft, and I ultimately decided on the craft paper. And it's kind of a canvas design with dots on it. So I cut that out. I used Hero Arts has a set of infinity circles of many sizes, and so I used one size for the mix-in paper, and then I made a border with New England ivy cardstock to go around that circle. So I'm just kind of figuring out the placement of my images on my card front here. So I think that's going to work. And then my sentiment says, "Love you no matter what." So I'm going to stamp this in black on the mix-in paper, and this image, this sentiment is just the right size of the smallest stitched bracket thin cut. So I'm going to stamp it in black, and then I'm going to cut it out with the thin cut. So again, I'll skip ahead after trimming this one out. Okay, so we have that one thin cut. Now let's start assembling our card. Okay, so I'm going to use the zip strip from the top of one of the timber papers. It's this plaid, black and white plaid. And I'm going to put that at the base, and it'll sort of anchor my sentiment. So I'm trimming that at 4 1/4 inches. So if you guys would leave a comment below, do you like watching me put all of the steps together on assembling these cards, or do you prefer that I speed it up and skip ahead and make the video a little bit shorter? I'm not quite sure if you like to watch this or if it's boring for you. So if you would leave a comment, just so I have a little guidance as to how I should edit my videos, that would be really helpful. I'd appreciate it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start gluing everything down. I'm using the Bonding Memories glue stick, and just a note, I'm really sad about this, but this item is going to retire, and it's currently while supplies last. So if you're interested, you should probably get on it pretty quick and make your purchase, because once they're gone, and who knows, in the next catalog there might be something that Close My Heart decides to replace this item with, or they might just be directing everyone towards the Tombow glues instead. So anyway, for this card, I'm using what I have left with my stash, and then I'm going to pop that sentiment with the thin foam tape. I've cut out another circle with craft foam. You can use your dies and run it through your Big Shot, and it cuts just fine, and it's pretty thin craft foam, so I'm going to pop the circle as well. And then I'll glue down everything within the circle, and I'm going to pop my little gnome with thin foam tape as well. And then off camera, I'm going to add a little shimmer brush to the butterfly and a couple of clear sparkles to the card as well. So I'll show you close-ups in just a second. Getting my gnome put down here. And then I'll glue my butterfly. Okay, so here is a close-up of this card, so you can see how he's wearing a blue jacket and has green pants and a red hat with the plaids. I think he turned out really cute. The stamp set is fun to work with. So here's the other card, and he's wearing a red jacket and a blue plaid hat. I appreciate you watching my video today. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button, and thanks for watching.